All right, let's just get this out of the way. The story we're getting into today, it's not polite at all. This isn't one of those self-help guides with, pastel colors and pictures of sailboats. Nope. This is, well, it's more like a raw, unfiltered field guide to a life that's lived completely on its own terms. And look, the author tells you that right from page 1. She basically says if you are looking for a polite story, put this book down. She's warning you that you're in the wrong aisle if you want a tidy narrative with a neat little bow at the end. We're here for the messy parts, the human parts. So consider yourselves warned. So to really get this operating system she built, this code for survival, we first have to understand the chaos it was designed to manage, right? You can't appreciate the solution until you see the problem. So let's start with what she calls a savage weather report from inside her world. So picture this. She's 40 years old, living on a dead-end street in Alabama. Half the town calls her a firecracker, and the other half, well, they're just waiting for the inevitable explosion. This patio you see, that's her command center. It's where she holds court, watches the world, and just fully leans in to this reputation that's been built on a lifetime of explosions. Some controlled, some not so much. But that really makes you wonder, right? How does a mind like that actually work? What's the internal architecture, the wiring inside, that creates this larger-than-life persona on the outside? How do you even begin to manage a mind that feels like it's in a constant state of combustion? Okay, so here's her answer. Her mind isn't some single unified voice. Not at all. As she puts it, it's much more like a really dysfunctional office building, and it's run by a board of directors who can almost never agree on anything. And this internal boardroom is just a mess of conflict. First up, you've got Pam. She's the worrier, the risk-averse one, always asking, is this wise? Then there's Roy. He's the total cynic, sitting in the corner, muttering, everyone is an idiot. And then there's Morgan. Morgan is the performer, the agent of chaos, the one who looks at a perfectly good bridge and says, let's burn it. The fire will look pretty. But for a long time, and it's really crucial to understand this, there was a fourth, uninvited voice in that boardroom: alcohol. And it wasn't just another member, it was a hijacker. It would storm in, fire Pam, gag Roy, and then hand a live microphone right over to Morgan, the performer. It silenced all caution and cynicism and just amplified that most self-destructive voice of all. So you've got all these voices shouting for the microphone. What's the underlying force that's actually running the show? According to her, it's not just about personality or moods or bad days. It's much deeper than that. It's about physics. Which brings us to the question, what is bipolar disorder really? Let's try to move beyond the clinical textbook definition for a second, because for her, that term just doesn't capture the raw physical experience of what it's like to live inside this system. No, for her, it's not a mood, it's gravity. Think about that. She completely reframes the experience. It's not some fleeting emotional state that you can just snap out of. It's an inescapable physical force, as fundamental, as real, and as non-negotiable as gravity itself. And this is the core mechanic of her world, a pendulum. She doesn't see it as a flaw, but as a predictable physical system. It swings, inevitably, between the high voltage of mania on one side and the crushing gravity of depression on the other. But here's the key part. It always has to pass through the center, a place she calls home. That's the balance point where truth lives, even if it's just for a fleeting moment. So if your internal world is governed by the physics of a pendulum, how do you exist in the outside world? Well, it required a massive, and I mean exhausting, external performance. To appear normal, she had to become an actor, constantly performing the role of sanity. And the gap between her public and private life was just staggering. I mean, look at this. Publicly, on her blog, she's projecting this image of effortlessly cool, domestic bliss smells like weed and furniture polish, but her private journals, written around the exact same time, they tell a completely different story. I feel like I am walking on eggshells. It's a world of terror and anxiety. So that whole effortless cool thing, it was anything but. It was an act of intense, invisible, and utterly exhausting labor. It was a constant state of hypervigilance, of paying attention to every little thing, just to create the illusion that she wasn't paying attention to anything at all. Well, eventually, as you can imagine, that performance just collapsed. You can't maintain that forever. And it was from that wreckage that she had to write a brand new code. a practical, battle-tested operating system that wasn't designed for performance anymore, but for pure, simple survival. A huge part of this was completely reframing her role in her own life and in her relationships. For years, she played the quarterback, trying to call the plays, rally the team, fix the whole game for everyone else. And it just left her tackled, broken, and carrying everyone's baggage. The new code, it made her the kicker. Think about it. The kicker's job isn't to carry the team. Her job is to show up, do her one specific thing, score the points, and then go sit back down, stay clean, protect her energy. No more pep talks. And this new operating system is built on 4 really practical, maybe even ruthless, but ultimately self-preserving rules. Rule 1, gatekeep access. Just because someone's in your yard doesn't mean they get to play in your sandbox. Rule 2, fire bad customers. Your piece is a business, and if an interaction costs more than it's worth, you close the account. Simple as that. Rule 3, don't polish that guy. You are not the CEO of other people's vibes. Let them be awkward. It's not your job to fix it. And finally, Rule 4, keep receipts, because gaslighting creates fog, but writing things down creates hard evidence.
And this all leads to the ultimate takeaway. I don't need a filter, I need a witness. Her journey wasn't about finding a better filter to seem more normal or polite. It was about throwing the filter away completely and finding the courage to just be seen, unedited, to become her own most reliable witness. And that really leaves us with a question, doesn't it? What happens when you stop trying to fix the chaos and you just start documenting it instead?